morning, councillors. Declare the meeting open at 8:32. I will read the prayer. Almighty God, we acknowledge that we have a responsibility to look after your creation, especially this region we call Barcaldine Regional Council. We are also conscious that our decisions are going to affect deeply the lives, land and property of the people we have come here to serve. Remind us to exercise respect for each of our fellow councillors, staff and for the people of our region. Help us in this meeting to act wisely, justly and intelligently in all our deliberations. Thank you, Lord, for the privilege of both leading and serving, and assist us to do these well. Amen. Amen. Councillors, do we have any condolences from the floor?
John Gordon.
Who, sorry?
John Gordon. It is John, lady.
Yeah, John Frank Broughton should be on there.
Thank you. We can just observe a moment of silence, please. Thank you, Councillor.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, Troy Curtis's funeral was on Friday too.
Troy and John, those. There being no apologies, appointing caller Damien Sennick. Taking this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional owners and their elders, past, present and emerging, of the land upon which we meet and the land upon which we sit here in the Barcaldine Regional Council. Meeting procedures now, please. Declaration, councillors, of MPIs. Councillor Plum.
Yes, I have an MPI in 4.6 chickens with a Port Gold 5.
4.6.1 goal 5.
That's all I have.
Councillor Peters.
Mr Mayor, I've got I'll declare an MPI in 4.4.4, 4.6.1 and 4.8.1.
Councillor All of 4.6.
Yes, I'll just, there's not too much I can stay for, Mr Mayor, so I'll just leave for those whole reports.
Thank you.
And I declare that I have an MPI in these matters as defined in section 175B. I haven't got that right this time, the Local Government Act, as I could entertain benefit or loss depending on the outcome of Council's consideration on the matter. My business could be a potential supplier to projects referred to in these reports, and I declare that with this MPI I'll be leaving the meeting while the matter is discussed and voted on. And I will just also flag that in 4.6.1 there is a footpath that could possibly be going past my house along Port Street, so I'll just flag that, but I'm already leaving for other issues there, but I'll just...
Two potential MPIs there. Councillor, can I just confirm 4.4.4
Yep.
and 4.6.1, when I spoke over you, did you declare another one?
4.8.1.
4.8.1. Councillor Gleeson.
Mr Mayor, I don't believe that I have any MPIs.
Thank you, Councillor Gleeson. Councillor Hanson.
Mr Mayor, I would like to ask, because I have a daughter that works for council, whether the staff policy ones are possible COI, I don't know.
Once again, I really don't know about offering advice, but the Act says an MPI benefits somebody in your immediate family, so That's, if you determine that they could materially gain or loss as a result of those policies, then
I don't think she would any more than any other employee by council, so I don't think I have a direct effect on her job.
Councillor Hanson, Councillor Arthur, I'll get you right today.
That's all right. I have MPIs in 4.3.9,
Thank you.
4.6.2, 4.6.3, 4.6.4. And as defined by the Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B, as my employers, Michael Horton Transport and possibly Rennie Enterprises, I stand to gain a benefit or suffer a loss. I will be dealing with this declared material personal interest by leaving the meeting while it's discussed and voted on.
Thank you. Councillor Rogers.
Mr Mayor, is this just the MPI or both?
Just MPIs, please.
Only MPI. So I'm declaring an MPI in 4.6.1, the works
The whole,
report.
the whole works report or just a
Probably
specific goal?
There's not much that I can, I'll just leave the whole thing. 6.6.3
6.
and 6.6.4, the tenders for foreign secret and...
Sorry, councillor. It says goal, section 6, we don't have a 6. Sorry.
No, are you in the works report still?
No, you said 6 point something, we don't have a 6. 4.6?
4.6.3.
4.6.
4.6.4.
Yes.
I declare I have material personal interest in these matters as defined by Local Government Act 2009, Section 175B as follows. My husband, Darryl Rogers, stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss depending on the outcome of Council's consideration of this matter. He stands to gain a benefit or a loss because at this point in time he's working for Kim Ford of Summerdale Grazing, who is also a contractor for the council. I'll be dealing with this declared material personal interest by leaving the meeting while this matter is being discussed and voted on. I did, that's all the MPIs.
Councillor Rogers, COIs, Councillor Plum,
I don't have any of these.
Councillor Beagles.
Can I go to Councillor Hanson, please, Mr Mayor, just with regards to the uniform, Councillor Hanson, you were looking in what resolution are you looking at there? Is that in your personal appearance and protection, or where's the uniforms coming? I have read it.
Personal appearance.
Okay. I'm in the same boat, Mr Mayor, as Councillor Hanson. I have a daughter that also works for council. And
What's your determination?
my determination is for, in abundance of caution, I am going to declare an MPI, and I will be treating that the same way as the other, and I will leave the room.
Councillor Beagles, that's 4.4.7.
Yep.
COIs?
No, I might think.
Councillor Hanson, COIs? No. Councillor Hanson, no COIs? Councillor Arthur? Rogers?
Yes, now after listening to Gary, I had a COI for the personal appearance policy, but perhaps it's an MPI if it's...
Dealing with a material gain or loss for a person close to you.
So I've got if I put that down as an MPI 4.4.7, it's a personal appearance policy, and then a COI for 4.4.6, the IT policy, and a COI for the 4.7.1. Sorry, 4. Now I've lost.
Councillor, can I ask why you're determining potential COI instead of MPI?
Yes, I can get into that, Mr. Mayor. Just got to try and find it. So, the Code of Conduct 4.4.5 and 4.4.6, a COI, and then the personal appearance and MPI. I've got a relationship with Darryl Rogers, he's my husband, and his interest in this matter is that he has actually applied for a council job. So I'm going to deal with this by leaving the room for the MPI. But I will ask for the advice of other councillors concerning whether I can stay in the room for the COIs. Whether you think it's a conflict in interest or not. And I also have a COI in 4.7.1, the DM's report. I've got a relationship with Darryl Rogers, who's my husband. His interest in the matter is that I believe that he might have cut down the tree or helped cut down the tree in the cemetery, Jericho, that's in the report while working for Kim Ford. I don't think that my personal interest in this is sufficient to leave the room, but I'm leaving that. I acknowledge that the remaining councillors must now determine that pursuant to section 175.
Councillors, there's 3 resolutions there, please. We'll do them individually. The first deals with Councillor Rogers' request for consideration over the COI on agenda item 4.4.5, which is the Code of Conduct for employees, given her relationship to an individual who has applied for a job on council. Is there a resolution?
He hasn't got the job.
Mr. Mayor,
Councillor Hanson.
I personally don't believe there's enough of a personal interest gain. I'm going to leave the room for those 3 resolutions.
Councillor Hanson moves that Councillor Rogers be allowed to remain in the room. Seconder. Councillor Gleeson. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. 7-0. .4.6. So the same resolution will be required for Councillor Rogers regarding her relationship to a potential employee of council relating to the information technology policy. Councillors, resolution.
What? Excuse me, through you, Mr. Mayor. What's the situation there, Melinda?
Same thing, staff policy.
Information technology?
Yeah,
What's the issue?
well, if we're the policy, we're looking at the policy
Yeah.
and it could possibly benefit Darryl. But probably not in a material way, be more like this conflict of interest. It's only it'd be only the uniforms that.
So councillors, I will be voting against Councillor Rogers on this one, remaining in the room, because the unlike the Code of Conduct, which need not necessarily deal with material gain, a information technology policy could benefit a council employee by the receipt of technology, phones. We could award every councillor via this is the policy where council would award each, if they chose to, every councillor a notebook or a laptop or something that they could, it improves or enhances their salary and conditions. So Councillor Rogers has self-determined an MPI in 4.4.7, then I would be voting that there is an existing MPI in 4.4.6 by basis of Councillor Rogers' self-determination in 4.4.7. I believe that a more consistent approach would be that 4.4.6 follows the same approach. for anyone who's declared in 447, if they were to throw it up as a COI, I would be suggesting it's the same as 446.
So, Mr Mayor, that includes me also, because
That's correct, but I wasn't asked with you, so I'm being asked with Councillor Rogers.
I'm more than happy for any councillor to tell me when they think that I might have an MPI, but under the information technology policy, I just need clarification of where you think there could be an MPI for myself. Are you saying that my
Not for
daughter, who works for council, could get a
a mobile phone, for example, a laptop, a notebook, all of those things are referenced in the first 4 or 5 paragraphs. So if I wasn't raising it, but if councillors thought that uniform policies presented an MPI by way of allowances for different things and a provision of, then I think a mobile phone and a laptop sits in the same basket as a clothes. If they think that determines as an MPI, I wasn't arguing with Councillor Hanson. I'm allowing councillors to self-determine, but where they're asking for me, I'm just foreshadowing that given that Councillor Rogers believes 447 is an MPI, then I believe 446 follows the same. So I still need a resolution. I'm actually going to move that I believe Councillor Rogers should leave the room for the purposes of discussion and voting on 446. Seconder, Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Against? 6-1. Melinda, you didn't vote.
Am I meant to vote on the one that I'm voting on?
No,
No,
sorry,
motion?
you're right.
Yeah.
5-1. Thank you, Harvey.
Mr Mayor, I'm happy to leave the room too, and I'm going to, just because it's been raised. The only thing I'll say there is that with the uniform policy, I know that my daughter is going to benefit by getting some uniforms from council. I know that that's a fact, that there's a benefit. I don't know if there's any benefit with the information technology policy.
But as councillors, we have the ability to make sure they do. We could inject into the policy today that every council employee receives a new mobile phone, like it says in there, they may be eligible. We can change that, will be eligible.
Yeah, but Mr Mayor, we could have a potential that we're going to change things on every motion we put up in here. I understand what you're doing, what you're saying, and
I didn't declare the MPI. I wasn't the one who declared, I wasn't instructing anyone to declare MPIs.
Yeah, I was just chasing, looking at the 2 different resolutions, but I will also declare an MPI under 4.4.6 for the same reasons as Councillor Rogers.
Through you, Mr Mayor, further to that discussion, the second part of our 175B stands to gain a benefit or suffer a loss that is no greater than that of other persons in the local government area. So those policies apply to every, how many have we got, 200 odd council employees?
Not quite, but close enough, yeah.
And it says, however, a councillor does not have an MPI in the matter if it is no greater than that of other persons in the local government area.
I am aware of that, councillor, but my interpretation of that is, as has been advised, that if every single resident of the Shire was going to be given a phone as a result of that, but it's limited to, it's not everyone in the region area. That I view that clause with respect to opening hours for a park or work that's going to be done around facilities that, everyone has access to. Not everyone in the regional council area has access to provisions under those 2 policies. That's limited to our employees.
But the legislation says that of other persons, not all persons.
That's correct. So it's up to you.
So my interpretation,
Just a difference of interpretation, abundance of
Exactly.
caution. There being no more.
Mr Mayor, can I please just raise one other thing? Someone had a COI under the Code of Conduct. Is that right?
That was
Yeah, but it's left. Oh, no, I didn't.
it's a COI. All of those follow employee policies.
That's correct.
So the Code of Conduct, I'm pretty sure won't be an MPI, it'll only be a COI.
And councillors all voted unanimously that Councillor Rogers could stay in the room.
Okay, well, I'm going to declare a COI along the same lines, because I have a daughter who works for council.
Can I have a resolution, please, regarding Councillor Peoples.
Same resolution. that
Moved
Councillor
Councillor
Peoples,
Councillor Arthur, seconded Councillor Hanson. All in favour? Carried 6-0. The Councillor Peoples remains in the room for the purpose of discussion and voting. Councillors, do we
do 4.7.1?
No, you did.
Oh, I did not. Receiving the information report regarding the tree that may have been cut down by the councillor's husband. Can somebody please resolve whether the councillor is entitled to remain in the room before I burst out laughing? Thank you, Councillor Hanson. Seconded, Councillor Gleeson. Those in favour, the resolution is carried 6-0. Councillor Rogers, my apologies if I offended you there. That does show an extreme abundance of caution, so thank you very much. It's protecting yourself more than anybody. Okay, councillors, resolution 4.4.4, I'm raising this in the ability to make you aware of any of you that may have MPIs. That is the receival of the project progress report. No councillors have declared an MPI except for Councillor Peoples. If anybody, so then it's fine that we receive that report. Should we need to discuss or question that, any councillor who may have projects referenced in that or are working or employed by someone working on those, you will need to declare that at the time and leave. If that is your interpretation of an MPI, once again, it rests with you. But if we just receive that report, then there's dead set no problem. It's only the questioning if it delves into areas specific to your employment or your own projects. Okay, councillors, today is budget day, obviously, given the size of the number of resolutions in front of us. As we work through in various workshops and in our various public consultations that we have all undertaken independently and together, and I've missed the declaration of personal gifts and benefits. Has anybody received a gift or a benefit? There being none, can I have somebody please move that we received the minutes of our last general meeting? Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Plum. Are there any comments, alterations or amendments required to those minutes? There being none, can I have somebody move that we, so that was carried 7-0, yeah. Can I have somebody move? Thank you, Councillor Arthur, seconded Councillor Plum. That those minutes be confirmed. All in favour? Carried 7-0. Okay, so, thank you, Hayley, Stephen. Series of resolutions here, and I will call for these resolutions to be moved and seconded, and if necessary, we move to formal debate after that. These resolutions don't call for a receival and then a mover. The resolution adopts these one by one. Detailed supporting reports have been received via electronic means and also at our various workshops. However, this is, in my mind, the most important council meeting all year, where we set not only the financial future for the next 12 months to 3 years, but also our operational plan. So as we move through, if there's comments required about any of the supporting reports or anything that's contained within, we will move to that after we receive, and I will ask if there's going to be a debate or just comments. So the first agenda item is 3.1.1 regarding the statement of estimated financial position as at 30 June. Can I have somebody please move that we receive that statement? Councillor Plum, secondly Councillor Hanson. Comments or, well, this is not actually one that we not receive anyway, sorry. So is there any comments, questions or debate required?
Through you, Mr Mayor, if I've got
Yes,
this right. We've got a downward trend in our cash for 3 years, and then, well, year 1, 2, 3, and then from 4 to 10, we're backtracking in a positive direction. Is there a particular reason?
Mr. Mayor, can we just hold that question until we get to the
3-year report. Yeah, so this one's dealing with just this year's figures. So the first, there's several attachments there. That one's looking at the 4 years, which is not very just over the page.
Right.
This report is an estimated position for this current financial.
Only, so it's this one here, councillor.
Yeah, I put it in the wrong box.
All in favour then of receiving that statement of estimated position? Opposed? 7-0. I think. Can I just call the vote again, please? All those in favour?
Yes, sorry.
Opposed? 7-0. Councillors, 312 deals with differential general rates categories. Can I have a mover that we resolve to create the following differential rates categories of rateable land for the year 30 June 21? Moved Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Rogers. Is there any debate? All those in favour? Carried 7-0. This one deals with what that actual differential rate levy is. Can I have somebody move the resolution here, please, that we resolve to levy differential general rates as per the table. Moved Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Rogers. Those in favour? Carried. 314. Minimum general differential rates. So this is where we set the base rate charged. Somebody move the resolution, please. Moved Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Arthur. Those in favour? Questions or comments?
These have just got the 2% or the percentage increase that we spoke about, Brett, haven't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor. I think it's
2.12 from memory, Mr. Verify.
Yeah, it's just that percentage increase we spoke about there, just from that. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's about 2.1, so that's something in that order, sure. But it drops down on the bottom
Yeah.
to around $11. It moves on the minimum. So all in favour? Opposed? Carried 7-0. Sewage charges. Will somebody please move that we adopt the sewage charges as presented? Moved Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Plum. Discussion?
No.
Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. 316, waste charges. Somebody move the resolution to adopt. Moved Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Hanson. Those in favour? Discussion, sorry.
Just to clarify, it's got waste collection $195 per annum per wheelie bin per collection. So that collection refers to our weekly collection, not, yes? Because it says per annum, but then per collection. So that collection refers to our weekly collection.
Well, Mr. Mayor, some people get more than one collection a week.
Okay.
So if you've got one wheelie bin that gets collected 3 times a week, you're getting 3 charges.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I wanted to. Yeah.
No amendment required.
No.
Those in favour? Opposed? I'll recall the vote.
First one, sorry.
If we're moving too fast, councillors, I will slow down. 317. Water utility charges. I will move that council adopts the water utility charges, including water allocations for the financial year 30 June 21, as is presented. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Discussion, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I've noticed in here that there's nothing written about no excess charge,
That is
and
correct.
when this goes to the public, I believe that there should be something written there so that they can see that when they read the minutes. Or do you
There'll
think-
be, in my covering note to the publication of this, it will reference changes year on year significantly, of a significant nature. And I would think that the current move would be significant enough that it will require commentary. So it will be in the page that hasn't been written yet because the budget hasn't been adopted.
Yeah, and that's all right, because there's quite a few people that do read these minutes, and I just wanted to clarify that they are informed as to what we've done.
Well, we haven't done it yet, Councillor Plum.
No, I'm just saying. But it's
Well, I haven't called the vote.
I'm just saying.
Thank you. Councillors, I will call the vote now though, please. Those in favour? Opposed? 6-1.
Can I have that recorded too, please, Mr Mayor?
Councillor Arthur wishes to be recorded. Can I have somebody move 3.1.8, please? Councillor Peoples, seconder. Councillor Hanson. Any discussion? Being none, call the vote. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried 7-0. Rates, payments, dates, instalments and discounts. This just refers to when rates are due and the period allowed for early payment. Somebody move. Move Councillor Plum, seconded Councillor Hanson. Any discussion? Being none, those in favour? Carried. Interest on overdue rates. Somebody move that resolution, please. Councillor Gleeson, seconded Councillor Rogers. Discussion? There being none, we go to the vote. Those in favour? Carried. 7-0. Rates concession for pensions. Standard resolution year on year. Can I have somebody move this, please? Move Councillor Peoples, seconded Councillor Plum. Discussion? There being none, call the vote. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Rates concession for non-profit organisations. Council grants a concession to the full rebate of differential general rates for the financial year for the following not-for-profit organisations. Can I have somebody move that, please? Councillor Gleeson, seconder. Councillor Hanson. Discussion? There being none, the vote. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Concessions for water utility charges. Somebody please remove this. Councillor Hanson, seconded Councillor Plum. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. General rates exemptions. It deals with the exempt rate categories. Somebody move this, please. I move a Councillor Plum. Seconder. Councillor Peoples. Discussion. None. Go to the vote. Those in favour? Carried. 7-0. Pest animal bounties. Can we move this, please? Move it. Councillor Plum. Seconder. Councillor Hanson. Discussion.
Mr Mayor,
Councillor Gleeson.
when we... Okay, I thought we were discussing that we were going to put that, move the bounty up more.
On the proviso that our neighbouring councils did, and at this stage they still haven't done. If we move without them, it costs us tens of thousands of dollars.
And yeah, and the neighbouring,
They haven't moved. Blackall and Tambo have actually overruled their wild dog committee and said that who recommended the same thing and said no. And Longridge hasn't moved, so I'd be nervous to move. My advice would be we hold until that can still be our stated position, but we don't actually move. We can amend this later. This year is actually easier to do it than it would be in other years, so if it,
we can amend it if
Correct.
they go forward, we can go forward.
you can amend it one of two ways, by actually changing the bounty or by awarding, as Whitten did, an additional rebate, which in an ordinary year would be the easiest way to do it. This year, given the state government's relaxed the rules on budget fees and charges, we could do it at another time. We can even change the rates halfway through the year if we want to.
And our position would be probably that if the rest of the councils around us did want to increase the wild dog bounty, we'd seriously look at it.
Well, that is actually a current position, yes. Yep. You happy with that, councillor Gleeson? Go to the vote. Those in favour? Carried 7-0. Councillor Rogers, did you want to add anything then? Sorry, I didn't look to you, and I thought you may have wanted to add to that discussion. So I've already gone to the vote, but I'll let you.
I was just going to say, it's no matter what the other councils do, it will still cost us tens of thousands of dollars extra.
It
But,
will, yes. Substantially less though if we aren't farming everyone else's dogs for them. It'll cost more just getting rid of our own dogs, but if we moved on our own, then we're going to be paying for Blackwell, Tenvale and Longreach to get rid of dogs too. Register of Commercial, Statutory and Cost Recovery Fees. We adopt that, please. Moved Plum, seconded Gleeson. Officer has a comment.
Mr Mayor, I omitted the plant hire rates out of that document when that was circulated originally. I only uploaded that this morning, which is part of our commercial fees that we charge for plant. Councillors want the opportunity to look at those.
Councillors, given that the highly irregular day that we're faced with, I'm happy if to suspend discussion on 3116 to allow you to peruse that during the adjournment, if you wish. But if you're comfortable that what we've seen there is static on previous years.
So the plant hire rates have been increased by 2%.
That's what they are. They're what they are this year, plus 2% in line. So if you would like to hold it for a look, I will. Otherwise, we can adopt now. I'm in your hands.
Now, these plant hire rates, these plant hire rates, are these that we're passing on to TMR and everyone, or were these?
Yes.
For both?
Both.
Okay. That's the best we can do.
In terms of when you say the best we can do.
In comparison to other councils around us, they'd be pretty similar to those plant hire rates.
So, Mr Mayor, Rick could probably answer from TMR's point of view, but I know that we have to submit the rates for every job.
Yep.
And they assess those rates whether they're fair. In terms of flood damage, they're not the rates that we receive. So QR8, they tell us what rate we're going to get paid for our equipment. So the main, so these rates mainly apply to TMR jobs. And when we tender for the job, we give them a list of rates which they check.
Okay. Understand that. What about with the fluctuation of fuel prices? We've still got to stick to those rates, or is there an allowance from TMR if we have to pay an extra 30-40 cents a litre for fuel?
Through you, Mr Mayor, it depends on the contract whether there's rise and fall allowed. Some contracts have rise and fall in them. Yeah, I'm playing that.
Okay.
At the moment, we're probably benefiting for fuel prices.
Don't get another way for it.
Yeah. But, so they go back up.
Something called swings and roundabouts, Councillor Peoples. Maybe you need to be familiar with that terminology. You can't only always win. So, councillors, we're happy to adopt. Councillor, so that's been moved and seconded. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried. Debt policy. Also, we move that the debt policy as presented be adopted. Councillor Plum. Seconder. Councillor Hanson, discussion.
Can I ask, Mr Mayor, but if we're moving these and seconding them before we have discussion, can we still change them? Because we haven't gone to the vote.
That's correct. I can move an amendment.
Yeah. So you have to move the amendment, right?
We're doing it in this way because this is not a two-stage motion. Budget motions are not receive the report and then make a resolution and to adopt. These are simply, we make a resolution to adopt, so foreshadowing discussion before the resolution, not easy meeting protocol. I'd sooner move the resolution and then move to amend it if need be. So this is the debt policy we're talking about.
Mr Mayor, the debt policy is an attachment. It allows for borrowings of $2 million in the current financial year.
Mr Mayor, can I just, with your debt policy, if you've got an allowance to borrow $2 million in a year, but then you wanted to borrow 2.5 or 3 or 4, whatever it might be, you just come back and change your debt policy. Is that right, Brett?
You may need to seek approval to change the debt policy mid-year. It's not like slightly disconnected from our ordinary operation.
So if we put 4 million in there that council plans to borrow 4 million for possible projects, and we don't borrow the 4 million, it doesn't matter.
Mayor, I don't believe with the discussions with QTC, I've very much doubt whether they have allowed us
We're going to have to
borrow $4 million.
get up and get out too.
I think they'd be looking more towards 1, but we'll be trying for 2.
And hoping for greens to fall our way if the one doesn't get through.
Yeah.
I think, see, they look to, it's got to have not just a figure plucked from thin air when the policy's developed. When QTC looks to assess it, they've got to know, well, what have you applied for your loan for? And if it's a grant, if it's a figure that might cover a range of projects that aren't specified, whereas in our budget preparations, we've sort of specified where we see loans as the revenue source, and hence the $2 million figure. So the debt policy is directly attributable to works that have already been done to develop projects along the way.
Okay. No, I just thought, if we could have put more in there if needed, it was there, especially with the present rate. But anyway, if that's what you want to run with.
Mr Mayor, also QTC, to be able to borrow, we will have to go through a credit review process. As part of that process, they will determine what we can borrow and what we can't, and if necessary, we will amend the policy if that was.
It's no,
Probably not a lot left in our capital works. It's not funded elsewhere.
always seems to be something come up with Mr Mayor.
And if it did, well, then I think that would be an appropriate time then to request a review of the debt policy.
Yep, fair enough.
Any more discussion?
Just through you, Mr Mayor, like the legislative requirement is also for the next financial years, but we only appear to work 1 year at a time. Is that?
For the debt policy?
Yeah.
Given the political nature of those that approve it for us, yes. Because their position changes every year on whether local governments can borrow, so yes. And also foreshadowing debt borrowings when they come up with grant schemes, we can always seem to find a way to use Works for Queensland or LGGSP or R2R or, so foreshadowing it as borrowing that far out, it's a bit hard when they don't foreshadow their grant programs more than 6 months in advance, really. So something will change, like DCP is another one, Drought Communities programs. Those things change on a 6-month revolving basis, so it's possible for us to try and identify revenue for projects 3 years in advance and limit it to debt so it could make a big debt policy unnecessarily, because when we get to that level or to that point in time where we have to make the decision, it's funded by another means.
And that larger, through you, Mr Mayor, that larger debt policy could possibly negatively affect us with QTC if
we were foreshadowing great.
we're going to borrow $2 million for the next 10 years.
Doesn't help your sustainability outlook.
Yeah,
correct?
okay.
Call the vote. Those in favour? Opposed? Carried, 7-0. Councillors, 3118. This is the budget supporting documents relating to capital works. You'll note A through E are the project lists that we spent a long time working on. Can I have somebody move that those financial reports supporting the budget for the financial year 30 June 2021 be adopted? Received, sorry. Councillor Plum, seconded. Councillor Rogers, featured there. Councillor Hanson. Comments, questions, please. Amendments?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the budget capital works, part of that will be made up by purchase of plant.
There's one line item there for that, and that refers then further to item E is the breakup for that one line item, that's correct.
So at this stage, I believe we probably have, some further discussion on one plant item anyway.
Fire away, councillor.
Sorry, Mr Mayor.
Fire away.
So we're going to go into the plant now? Okay.
This is the section that deals with plant replacement.
Yep. As we've had plenty of discussion over the past, 2 budget meetings with regards to the conversion of our gravel tipper truck into a gravel cum water truck, I'd like to put to council and ask for their consideration that we don't buy any truck this year. We stick with the 2 gravel trucks that we have and give us the time to do some detailed investigation on what is the best way forward for council. I don't think we've had enough time or enough information given to us with regards to what is the best way forward. And I'd like to ask council to keep those 2 trucks. I believe that those 2 trucks, one's got 240,000 K on it, the other's got 340,000 K on it. I believe that those trucks would do another 12 months work. I know we have a policy says that we trade them at 10 years, but the truck that we are trading, because of its age in years, is the truck with only 240,000 K on it anyway. So I just want to put that to my co-councillors to ask would they give that some consideration. There's the effect that we've been around our communities with regards to the effect we're going to have on our water tank contractors in Aramac and Marlborough. It is a fairly emotional issue for us at this stage, and I would just like to ask that we have more time and give more consideration both to them and to what's the best way forward for us, and keep the 2 trucks that we have and look at not purchasing a truck or a water tanker in this budget and just keep the status quo.
Mr Mayor, can I just clarify?
Yep.
Please, Councillor Peoples, there's, as discussed at the previous budget workshop, there is only 1 truck allowed for in this budget, and the 2nd truck was in next year's budget.
That's right. I think Councillor Peoples is saying no more.
Yeah,
Don't replace one.
Councillor Peoples saying preferred 2, but
I'm
there is
saying
only,
not to buy any truck at all.
yeah, I understand that.
And I understand that there's only 1 truck in this. But
Councillors, without actually using an amendment, Councillor Peoples is saying we should amend those 2 areas, capital works and plant replacement, to not replace the truck. Is there they're saying a seconder, is there somebody who'll support that so that we can move to amend?
I have a motion here for call, Mr Mayor.
So be it, move to amend.
Yep. That council holds off buying any truck, and we do a detailed investigation on what is the in the best interest of council and community before going forward.
Councillor, you're going to need to move to specifically amend those two reports to remove, but in line with what you're saying, you can have that wording, but we're going to need to specifically amend B and E to delete the two references and amend the figures. Those figures are,
Yes, no, well,
you know what I mean?
yeah, I do know what you mean, and I'm happy to
That
start the motion.
resolution doesn't really fit. I mean, I get its intent, but it can't work it into that in any way, really.
Yep, no, well, the council amends, line B and E.
Remove reference to replacing planned item 5114.
Yes. Yep,
What was the item number?
5114.
Yeah.
So that would be to actually amend, sorry councillor, your amendment, but you're actually amending section E to remove planned item 5114 and item B to amend the value. Because 5114 is not referenced in budget, capital works.
Yeah.
So can I just, your resolution, councillor, you want to amend that?
you want to change B to the
The
value of not buying the 5114.
Can I suggest that it would be better read better if you went that council amends line E to remove planned item 5114 and to remove item 5114 and deducts the value from section B. Morning Minister, how are you? Good. We're about to hit the road. Councillors, I'm now going to adjourn the meeting for further consideration as we reconvene at 1:05 p.m.